this is the, I don't know if you get a lot of static on the recording. I kind of got that when I was testing out OBS. But, you should still probably be able to hear me. So, let me go over the first thing that I added since last class. I'll add one more thing outside of the mechanics I'm going to show right now, which is aerial takedown, which I've already started working on. But it was giving me a bit of an Mixamo was giving me a bit of an issue with the imported animations and retargeting them, so I'll do that in class when I can get assistance with retargeting. But yeah, outside of these existing ones, stealth takedown or aerial stealth takedown is the last one remaining, and after that, that's it for core mechanics. Outside of AI, because AI I'm going to save for later. Landing hard is the first thing. It's not really a mechanic, it's more of just, you just gotta see just one. But it's basically like you land hard. Like if you land from too far up, you get a little animation. The screen right now isn't forcing you to look down. I'm just, I'm looking down, but it's not forcing you to. You can be looking in any direction. If I double jump here, you can be looking up, and it'll be forced kind of to slow down for a bit. But yeah, you can alter the height, but I find that it's kind of finicky. You have to be very specific with the height in order to make it, and not do this hard fall animation when you're just jumping, but still do it when you're like in a high surface or something. I'm not really sure how 100%. Like you can see, it didn't do the animation when I fell from there. And so because it's based in downward velocity, but yeah, I'll have to tweak that a little bit. You also have climbing the ladder, which is a simple thing usually, but I added a little animation, which doesn't look the best, but it's the best I could have for free. So there it is, a little climbing. Press E to interact, and then you can, a simple door as well, where you press E to interact as well, in both ways. Moving platforms using splines. So the difference between this and regular moving platforms, which use a timeline, like this door right here, for example, is, let's just open it up. Simple door. It's using a timeline to move. So what that does basically is it rotates it 90 degrees when it goes from here to here, basically. Like yeah, you can see the value here is minus 90. That's the rotation, and that's time 1 second. So it takes 1 second to turn 90 degrees. Instead of using a timeline, splines are just different. They follow a spline, this specifically, this little thing, which can be manually changed. Like I can change it manually. Like right now, it's only going up to here, right? But I could change that. I could make it go up to there, and then I could select this here and make it go, down, back down, and so on. Like that's what's cool about splines. So the reason I was going to use splines, or the reason I wanted to use splines, oh yeah, this only moves when I'm on it. That's the difference between this and the other one. And then I leave it, and then it goes right back down. Whereas this one goes to its endpoint, it despawns. I'm thinking I'm going to replace the mesh for this one with like a train that's going to act as a traversal method, a train that's going to be traveling through an area, and I jump on the train and I move through. I already have a train FBX, so that's good. That's like a solid idea. I'm already kind of in my head readying it up. So yeah, those are splines, and those are definitely going to be more useful than regular timelines. Next we have inverse kinematics for feet, which I don't really have a way to show you. It's kind of like the feet turning, where I can't really prove to you that it works. You sort of just have to take my word for it. That was me trying to get beam walking working, but then I realized I have crouching, so beam walking is kind of negated by that. But yeah, so inverse kinematics. That's basically it's just a fancy word for when you climb upstairs, or when you're on like an angled surface, your feet will automatically align to that surface. I'm not sure to what extent. Well, you're just getting a sneak peek at one of the other mechanics just now, but like you can see maybe I don't know how well it's working 100%, but it should be working. Where your upper foot goes on the upper rail and your lower foot goes on the lower rail, instead of them both being like on the same angle. That's all inverse kinematics is basically. It's just a fancy word for feet in appropriate position, basically. Let me find the script for it. It should say IK. Okay, there we go. Okay. So yeah, basically it runs a foot trace off your third-person character, and it runs foot traces off both yours, because you have a left foot trace offset, which goes into the foot trace, and a right foot trace offset. That goes into the foot trace as well. I don't know if you can hear my stomach rolling right now. I hope you cannot. Let's see, that's inverse kinematics. I'm pretty sure it's working. It's kind of a quality of life thing. I didn't really need to do it. I just did it for fun. Takedown. Yeah, well, I was talking about aerial takedowns, but what I have working is takedown from behind. Just go behind them, left click. You can't really see the character when you're doing it because it's in first person and the animation just isn't designed like that. But you probably saw the shadow animation and the fact that it despawned after the animation is completed. And the other one is, as you can see, punching. It looks kind of bad, but it has various different punch animations, as you might have seen just now. Let's find that. Where are you? Ladder? Dang it. Oh yeah, it's probably down here somewhere. Here we go. Well, this is a takedown. Quite long. It works by line trace. It throws a line trace out when you're behind it, to check that you're behind the AI character and cast the AI. And then it disables the AI's movement, so obviously it shouldn't be able to move, or you shouldn't be able to move while you're performing the animation. That's what the disable movement, stuck to character movement is for, because if I just press W when I'm taking them down, I shouldn't be able to just break out of the animation. That doesn't make any sense. But yeah, it turns off your movement mode and sets it back to walking after the animation is completed. That's takedown. I don't know where punching is. I try to keep my script clean. Here we go. So we have input action attack a branch, checks if you're falling. If you're not falling, then it goes into this is punching, it sets it to true. It disables your movement, plays the animation montage of you punching from a various, these 7 different animations, 0 to 6, which is 7 total. There are 7 different punch animations, which it chooses a random integer from 0 to 6 inside this array, and it gets a copy of it, and it pulls it into the animation montage and it plays. Then there's a little delay, and then we go into walk mode and we set is punching to false. Because after you've punched, obviously you are no longer punching. But yeah, that's how the punching was set up with animations. There's also the character death, which is all in the AI. Yeah, it works similarly for the animation montage. This just reduces its health. I had to set up a health integer. Probably should have made it a float, but yeah, this is the dying montage. There's 3 different death animations to spice it up, I guess, from this array. And you can see it's kind of the same method. Choose 0 to 2. You get a copy of it, pull it into montage. But that is the punching animation. You also have a little health bar. It is functional. I mean, I could prove it to you, but I did my health bar last semester, so it shouldn't be too much of a surprise. Player health widget. Just create health widget. Well, yeah, I can just have a little event, keyboard event. Pull the press into there. This is just for debugging and testing. So if I play now and I press Q, you can see my health goes down. Basically, all I'd have to do to make it functional is attach this to like a AI punching, put like a little sphere collision on their fist or something, and it would decrease my health. But yeah, that's it for the mechanical stuff, I believe. Let me just make sure. Yeah, that should be it, outside of the aerial takedown, which I'll finish tomorrow. That won't work on ziplines. That'll just be like I'm here. That's what this was for initially. The reason the character is there and I'm there, so I can jump, then I take down the character. It's like a simple punch and then they fall down kind of thing. And as I mentioned earlier, I won't set up any functionality for them until later. Now the next thing is visual effects. That's the other thing I've been working on, and after I finish that last mechanic with the aerial takedown, I'll focus more on these because I kind of want to mess around with Niagara a bit more. So here are a few things I created. Particle system, simple particle system. It's kind of like monstrous looking. Let me just pull it out. Here we go. As you can see, it's very crazy looking. I thought messing around Niagara will definitely help when we're doing Liam's particle system, or Liam's kind of like style, which is surreal, brain, messy, uppy things. So yeah, Niagara will definitely be helpful when we're doing that, at least artistically. Let's open that up. Yeah, this is Niagara. It's very weird to get the hang of this. Like, there's lots of different settings. You can subtract these, add these. There's these things called like I didn't do it here, but with my tentacle there was maybe it was the tornado. Well, there was. I completely forgot what I was going to say, but there was something particularly interesting. I'm running these on my CPU for some reason. These should be running on my GPU. Fixed bounds. Oh yeah, sorry. It has a bit of an issue where it needs to be fixed bounds. Fixed bounds. Emitter state initialized particle. Okay, well, I can't find it right now, but I'll try to set that up later. Set it back to CPU for now. Otherwise, it won't show up. file that. But yeah, I'll have to set that back to GPU. That's why it's kind of running hard on my computer. Oh, fixed bounds is right there. Under emitter properties. What am I doing that? I'm gonna have Tentacle, emitter properties, fixed bounds, do GPU compute. There we go. Basically, this just makes it run a lot better on the computer because my GPU is better at handling this stuff than my CPU. That was also my tornado, which means fixed bounds on a GPU sim. Fixed bounds. This seems to have trouble rendering even with fixed bounds. Maybe I should go back to CPU sim. Weird. Well, usually it saves on performance. I guess in this case, particularly, it messes it up. Lots of changes. A lot of the tutorials are in 4.25 and 4.26, and they haven't been updated to this current edition of Niagara, so they don't work as well. But this is basically one of them. The particle system with the weird. Yeah, you have to design kind of every single one of these. You have to make the meshes move in this particular way, design the drag, design like the pulling in force. Like you have to add the drag, which basically drags it in to itself. You have the point attraction, which is where it's pulling. Gravity, which is gravity in a vortex, which kind of makes it like a tornado. Yeah, more stuff like that. Scale mesh, that's pretty self-explanatory. Yeah, so there's that. There's the tentacle, which is, you believe it or not, this is actually just a bunch of chair meshes. It's just emitting a bunch of chairs from the base chair model that comes with the starter content. This thing, believe it or not, this is that with the fancy glowing material that kind of comes built in. I forgot what it's called. Like, this is like a glow. I don't know. Maybe it's. I could look it up, but it would take too much time. It's a given material. It's a given mesh, and I just used it to create this tentacle. And you can kind of duplicate it, and make it a little, I don't know, monstrous tentacle monster thing. Not that anyone wants to see that. Yeah, very creepy. I plan on doing more with this stuff. It's very interesting, stylistically. Like it could definitely benefit. And the last thing I added, I think you saw earlier, is also the tornado. Keep in mind, none of these have an actual effect in game. They're just style. That's why they're in the style folder. We have the tornado, which is the conveyor belt mesh, or the conveyor belt material put onto, I don't remember what the mesh was exactly, but it's conveyor belt material, and I just recolored it to be yellow and black. I can change the height, I can change the color, I can do whatever I want with it. I can make the base thicker to make it a more realistic tornado. Anything really. I just thought it would be fun to mess around in Niagara. Yeah, this is a little particle thing. I don't know if that's a glitch or if that's me kind of messing up with the script for it. I believe this. Oh yeah, this is what I was gonna talk about. I was gonna talk about the scratch pad for, I believe, the tentacle. Was there no scratch pad? Well, basically, it's kind of like the blueprint editor, but completely different in the sense that it's about visual effects and it has a lot of different. I learned a few keyboard shortcuts on it as well that are different than the blueprint editor. But yeah, that's about it. That's the the VFX and the mechanics I added, and I plan on adding aerial takedown, as I said a million times already, because I really want to get that working. Yeah.